but I can tell you right now it's not true.
Welcome to head coach Jeremy Pruitt's signing day press conference. Coach Pruitt will open with a quick opening statement. Please raise your hands for questions.
You know, kind of with the changing of the recruiting calendar, it's always it's interesting here, the second phase of signing day, the second time around. You know, we really addressed a lot of needs in the early signing period. Had an opportunity to add 2 transfers at mid-year in Cade Mays, who I believe is one of the best offensive linemen in the SEC, and Malachi Jones from USC, who's a grad transfer, who is a punt kick returner that has a lot of experience. Coach Martin had an opportunity to recruit him, coach him at USC, and a guy who can add valuable experience and leadership to a group where we need help. We lost a lot of production at the wide receiver position, so it's good to add Velas there. You know, with the 2 signees today, with starting with Malachi Wideman, you know, guy's an unbelievable athlete. I had the opportunity to watch him play a basketball game. You know, it just you see the athleticism, you know, on the basketball court. You know, I guess he probably could play 3 or 4 positions on the basketball court. When you watch him on the football field, just his catch radius, his instincts to play the position, you know, he really has a very high ceiling, you know, high point in the football, has really good toughness. He is a very fluid athlete with a ball in his hand. So really excited about the opportunity to add him to our program. D. Beckwith, really an athlete from Florence, Alabama, is a guy that we targeted really early. He's one of these guys that, you know, in high school football, you put the ball in your best player's hands. So a guy that played a wildcat quarterback, played some tailback, wide receiver, safety, linebacker, a guy that could project to play a number of positions. You know, but when you really watch him play, to me, when he's dynamic is when the ball is in his hand. You know, and that's one of the things that we will do with him when he gets here, is we're going to give him an opportunity to be able to put the ball in his hand. But again, a fantastic athlete. Both of these guys play basketball, and we're going to give them the opportunity to do that here. I think that was something in the recruiting process that was important to both of these young men. But you know, when you look at our class, felt like we added a lot of big men up front to start with. That's where it always starts. You know, when you look at the wide receiver group, I think this is one of the best wide receiver groups in the country. It's one of the best groups that I've been around when you talk about potential, speed. You know, quarterback position, we added 2 guys there, tailback, you know, 3 guys at that position. So then you turn around and look defensively, with the guys that we added up front, the linebackers, the secondary guys. We're really excited about this group. We feel like with the character that they have, all the intangibles, the makeup, it's going to be a really good fit with the guys that we have returning. So it's an exciting time for us. It says a lot about everybody in our recruiting department, our assistant coaches, our players, our administration, everybody that's involved in the recruiting process. You know, lots of times in recruiting, you say, well, who's recruiting this guy, or which coach is recruiting that guy? It really takes everybody. And I think all of our coaches would be the first to tell you there's a lot that goes into the recruiting process, and our recruiting department, our operations, strength and conditioning, our academics. We have so much to sell here, and everybody is on board to help us get to where we want to get to. You know, we've had a couple of additions to our coaching staff, starting with Jay Graham. Jay's a guy that coached with at Florida State, had an opportunity to play against him when he was playing here. Very familiar with Jay. When you talk about, first of all, just what type of person that he is, you know, we're excited about adding him and Kelly, his wife, and his 5 children here. He played at Tennessee, right across the line, North Carolina. Wanted to be here. And when you talk about the guys that he's coached over the years, the experience that he has as a coach, as a player in this league, a guy that can develop the running back position, you're talking about a great guy to recruit to, and just high character. Joe Osvald, the opportunity to add him and his wife Sandy, our staff, to our full-time staff. Joe's been with us for 2 years. He's a guy that was a head football coach at Nassau Junior College and Asa Junior College, a guy I didn't know when I took the job here, but had watched film on some of the teams that he coached and was very impressed, and gave him a call, interviewed him about a position we had at the time, and didn't hire him for that position, but he was a guy that we wanted on our staff. Has done a fantastic job since he's been here. I think he's a very bright mind, and has lots of really good ideas offensively. When we first got here, I said that Brian Needlemeyer is a guy that can coach on either side of the ball. He played offense in high school and college, but as he became a coach, he spent most of his time on the defensive side. He's done an excellent job with our tight ends the last 2 years, but with the flexibility that Brian has, moving him to inside linebackers is going to be a great addition. It's going to be great for him because it shows the value that he has as a coach and his versatility as a coach. So we're excited about the additions that we have, the direction of our program. Our kids are working extremely hard. That's one of the things that, being out on the road for 3 weeks, I really hadn't had a lot of opportunity to see all of our players. As we come in, some of them are involved in recruiting, which the month of January is not nearly as big as far as numbers when it goes to recruiting, so you don't see as many guys. But it's interesting how many guys have come and seen me on the weekends and had an opportunity to spend some time with them. But the last couple of days, being in the office, getting a chance to see our guys, see them work, be around them, kind of excites me about where we're headed. And the work ethic that these guys have. We're off to a good start this semester academically, and kind of excited to kind of get into our full-fledged off-season program and get ready for spring ball. I'll take any questions.
David?
How would you describe the impact of the league as it goes this season on this recruiting process?
Well, I think recruiting, there's a little bit of momentum to it. When you get guys that start committing to a certain school, or guys want to be a part of that. Right now, we won our last 6 games, 7 out of our last 8. So we created some momentum on the field, created some momentum in December, done a nice job closing in the early signing period, and the spots that we had to fill today, I couldn't be more happier about the guys that we added to this group. So, I feel like that the momentum that we did create on the field, it had an effect in recruiting.
Gentry, then Brant, West.
This program historically at times has recruited nationally, bringing in guys West Coast, Northeast, that kind of thing. What's your take on the recruiting area in terms of where you make your focus, and also do you feel like the football and the surrounding states is kind of where you might not necessarily have to do that twice?
Well, you always want to start at home base, which is our state. We signed 10 guys from our state in this class, and then you work out from there, right? So the brand that we have, we can recruit anybody across the country. I think you have to do a nice job, number one, working from home base out. You don't want to spend your time 12 hours away from Knoxville a whole lot, because probably your success rate's not as good there. So you want to be efficient with your time, and make sure that you recruit the right guys. But I think Drew Hughes and his staff in the recruiting department have done a really nice job with a plan with our coaches. you know, in the areas that they recruit, setting their boards, which I think's really important. You know, we are always watching tape to try to re-rank our players, you know, so, you know, we're getting ready to start, you know, the next couple of classes here, and we have a lot of these guys, most of these guys are on our board, right? But you want to follow up. You're always trying to gather as much information as possible. So we'll recruit anybody, anywhere that wants to come to Tennessee.
Wes and then Brent and Steve.
Jimmy, you just talked about kind of signing 10 guys from the state and maybe the way that the football has changed in the state. You know, you've recruited, I know you've just been in Tennessee for a few years, but you're on the state recruiting some kids. How have you seen this state kind of grow in that way? It just seems like there's a lot more prospects than there were maybe 10 years ago.
Well, that's probably not a fair question for me because historically, the other schools that I worked at, I never really had this state as a primary area for me to recruit. So I don't know as much about the history. I know right now that there's lots of really good football players in this state that we've just signed. We're excited to have them. They're well coached. They want to be here. They're good students. You know, and that's always a good thing. So, you know, when you can sign 10 guys from your home state, you know, I think it helps down the road with the next group.
Brent, Steve, Blake.
Coach, you talked about re-ranking on the board. Just talk a little bit about the re-ranking process in the month of January. I think Malachi has a guy that was committed to another school in the early period, didn't sign, and obviously you guys jumped on. How much do you re-rank, not your board, but what's available out there in January if you look at a new board, so to speak? And two, do you think moving forward, coaches are going to hold a spot on their initiatives for transfers? Do you think you're going to always have them in your back pocket that way?
Well, when you talk about Malachi in particular, I think he was pretty set on where he was going to go to school. You know, there obviously was a coaching change there. He decided not to sign in the early signing period. A guy that we targeted early on, but we didn't get much traction there. But once he didn't sign, I really feel like that Chris Winkie done a fantastic job kind of staying the course with him the entire time. And, you know, hey, it kind of kept us in the game. And because of that, the opportunity to get him here and, you know, building the relationships over the last 6 weeks enabled us an opportunity to sign him. And, you know, so as far as the holding a scholarship, I think lots of times it depends on your roster. You know, I think everybody's rosters are a little bit different. You know, you can look at guys based off numbers, and you can also look at it based off depth at certain positions, or maybe even age at certain positions. Maybe you got some guys that you think have a chance to be really good players, but if you could take a guy that you know, that's 22 as opposed to 18, you might come in and help immediately before that guy could. So I don't know. I think that probably would, you know, differs with each college.
Steve, Blake, Mike.
Good stuff up and didn't get a chance to play basketball as well. How much was that involved in the recruiting process? Did they have communication with the basketball staff while they were here?
Yeah, you know, when he come on his official visit, we got him over there with Rick and his staff, and we do that with a lot of sports. So when you're recruiting guys that are doing multiple sports, you have to do that. You know, Kenny Solomon's running track right now, so it's something in the recruiting process that we lay out a plan for, and you know, they're on football scholarship, so it starts there. But you lay out a plan that you feel like they can have success, whether it's on the football field, on the track, on the baseball diamond, basketball court, but at the same time be able to handle being a student at the same time.
Blake and then Mike Wilson.
Chairman, coaches often say they don't look at recruiting rankings, they don't worry about that. And to the extent that that's true, what things matter to you and your staff more if you're recruiting an athlete, maybe than what a particular ranking says? And then second, Jeremy Banks agreed to see it.
we have critical factors for each position. Um, for a defensive back, does he have the ability to play man-to-man? Can he tackle in space? What kind of range and ball skills does he have? To me, that's three critical factors that you've got to be able to do to be a successful defensive back in this league. Then there's a height, weight, speed component in there. There's the intangibles, toughness, dependability, the makeup. Those things are important. So each individual position, we have the critical factors that we're looking for. We have a grading scale that we go by, that they have to hit certain marks, and if they hit these marks, then that's what we believe it takes to have success in this league. So that's kind of the way we go about ranking our players and setting our board and deciding, right? And one thing about it, it's when you're recruiting high school kids, to get the correct information is tough because everybody's not going to the combine, right? And the competition that guys are playing against, their age, you can have a 19-year-old senior, you can have a 16-year-old senior. So all these things you have to take into account, and what kind of program do they come from, or do they have a great weight program, great nutrition program, all these things, they can create an advantage for a kid in his development or a disadvantage. So you got to take all these things into account. In your last question, no.
Mike?
Jeremy, how would, I guess, the calendar work if back when you were playing basketball, would be football in the fall, basketball in the spring, and you coach the players done both those sports before?
Not since I coached at Hoover High School. So, but, and our schedule there wasn't much different than the bowl schedule here. We usually play till the second or third week in December. So when football season's over with, he'll go to basketball.
Trey Wallace?
Coach, can you talk about Malachi Jones? You guys had the opportunity. Last year he was interested at the time, potentially transferring to Tennessee. This time around he was the Portland's grad transfer. You guys landed. Can you talk about the relationship even dating back to last year?
Well, we didn't have a relationship last year. T knew Valus, right? So, I think there was a point in time that he was possibly looking to transfer there. But with a grad transfer deal, now he can go anywhere that he wants. And, he's from Mobile, Alabama, so this is a lot closer for his family to have an opportunity to come watch him play.
Any more questions for Coach? Wes?
When you look at, I guess since I spoke with y'all around the signing period, some of the guys you've added got transfers, kind of skill guy offensively, added a couple today who were pass catching types. Is that something that, after the early signing period, you knew y'all needed to look for more depth there, or were those just the best players that came across?
No, we were recruiting the best players available and the guys that we had traction with, and we felt like probably fit a need for us. Did we need to add another guy at the wide receiver position for this cycle? I don't know. Our numbers, from a number standpoint, it says yes, right? We need 10 guys on scholarship, but the opportunity to get a guy like Malachi, you're not going to pass on that.
Last couple, Austin and Jesse.
Coach, can you just talk about Will Friend, because the job he did in helping the and Jimmy Holiday with those recruits?
Yeah, it's start with Jimmy Holiday. There's probably traditionally there's not been a lot of kids from the state of Mississippi that have came to Tennessee. There's been a few right there from the era that Jimmy's from that have come here and had a lot of success. So that helped to start with. Will's connections in the state of Mississippi. Again, going back to the identification process, we offered Jimmy early, stayed on him. He committed to another school, continued to stay on him, and had an opportunity to get him in the end. He's a mid-year guy, and he's here. And every time that we have a group in here in recruiting. Jimmy's in here recruiting. So again, a guy that was a leader on his high school football team, to me has a great makeup about him, and excited about seeing him compete this spring. D. Beckwith, again, that's Will's area, and I think he'll be quick to tell you. I mean, I sat in the in-home, and between Will and T, really think they've done a fantastic job working together to make sure that we got D, and Jim Chaney also. So again, it's a team effort, and I think these guys done a really nice job using the other parts of the people in our program to help us get really good student athletes.
Final question, Jesse.
With Kevin off to the Giants, you obviously lost your special teams coordinator, and you replaced Kevin with Charles Taylor the year before. Is Jay going to assume those responsibilities because of what he, his experience previously, his last level stuff, just kind of multiple coaches having in that?
Well, Jay absolutely could do it, along with other guys on our staff. We have yet to really sit down and iron that out exactly yet, but he's plenty capable. And all of our coaches coach special teams, so we've got lots of guys that are familiar with what we've done in the past, and we'll continue to use everybody in that capacity. But at some point in time before spring ball, we'll get it ironed out exactly who's going to head that up. Is that it, Zach?
That's it.
So I know you all know that this is Zach's last press conference. So I just want to tell y'all, and I know y'all appreciate the job that Zach's done in the last 2 years that I've been here. He's been phenomenal in helping bridge relationships between me and you guys, and I appreciate him for the job that he's done here, and I know you guys do. So I just wanted to give Zach a shout out for what a great job that he's done representing this university.
Thank you.